week, we brought you the most evil of evil comics. And now some may say, we were a bit premature. We might have blown our wad on the evil because it being forever evil this week. But I say to you, no. We are so far ahead of the curve that we're past evil, and now we're on nihilism. That's right. We believe in nothings. Nothings.
We are nihilists. We don't believe in anything.
Nothing. So we're just going to very even-handedly talk to you about these comics. Just very slowly. Try not to get too excited.
This is TRILLIUM number 2. It's the second issue of a 10-issue miniseries by Jeff Lemire. He writes, draws, and colors it.
It is sci-fi. There is love. There is weird drug stuff. There is strange connections in the ethereal world.
There are flowers that one may or may not say are pretty.
It's true. It's still really good, though. And we finally got issue 1 back in, as well. So we have issue 1, issue 2, and no, this is not a flip book. It's just got Batman. Batman's looking pretty evil, and kind of nihilistic. Batman. Speaking of Batman, what do we got here? Oh, that's a nice back cover. Little Batman black and white action. The well-known series from early 2000s?
Something like that.
Something like that. Basically, it's a bunch of superstar artists and writers taking on Batman in black and white, tales. Everybody but Neil Adams bothered to ink their stuff, so it is black and white. Neil Adams is kind of like a sketch variant.
It's gray and white.
But he's Neil Adams. He doesn't give a shit.
There is a crazy badass story drawn by Sean Murphy, who just did his Batman black and white statue.
Which is really nice, which we have as well. But yeah, and it's just all like racing. Sean Murphy loves racing.
He does. He likes big cars and big motorcycles and angry dudes riding them around.
With guns.
Which is exactly what you'll find in there.
That's right.
And another sort of out-of-the-box, not quite so evil series from DC this week. This is DC versus Masters of the Universe number 1. It's got 2 covers. One of them has He-Man and his friends there. One of them's got Superman and the Justice League. Which one do you want? You want both of them, right?
That's right. Because He-Man's gonna win. I mean, it's really
he does have
obvious.
power.
That's what I'm saying. It's the power of Grayskull. Dexter Soy and Keith Giffen. If you can't get a good, violent He-Man versus Superman comic out of Keith Giffen, he's lost it then. From Avatar, and this is one of the few times that we will talk about an Avatar comic. Jonathan Hickman brings you God is Dead, co-written by Mike Costa, art by D. AMORIM. Basically, the idea, this is kind of touching on, the idea of the actual possibility of gods, whether they exist, and what would happen if they came back. Horus comes back and he sees Egypt is not really well as he left it. He's kind of pissed off. He starts killing things, explosions, big boom. Odin, maybe? Odin, Thor? I don't know. This is Viking-looking guy with wings, and that's Odin.
Yeah, that's definitely Odin. He's got the ravens.
Odin is totally pissed, and Odin has an entire room of topless women, so obviously he's Odin.
I'm pretty sure he also stole Triple H's championship belt.
It's possible.
Another big debut this week out of Dark Horse. This is the first issue of the Star Wars.
Not any Star Wars.
Not be confused with Star Wars.
No.
But the Star Wars.
That's right.
This is based on George Lucas's original, 1 or 2 page treatment of his Star Wars franchise, the raw ideas from the middle of his strange bearded brain.
Chinned brain. But yeah, we got Mike Mayhew doing art, doing this really nice kind of, not quite photorealistic, but certainly...
It's the painterly style.
It's a painterly style, for sure. You have Anakin Starkiller instead of Anakin Skywalker. This is kind of like, the real truth on Star Wars. This is like that, Captain America, black, white, and whatever the...
Yeah, the Kyle Baker one.
Yeah, the Kyle Baker one. But not quite as funky, You're not going to get Kyle Baker. Man, we love the 90s, and 2099 is even better. That's like the super 90s. That's the cyberpunk 90s. And from that, we have Spider-Man 2099 making, not his first appearance, I'm sure, but first appearance in a little bit in the Marvel Universe. Superior Spider-Man number 17, Dan Slott, Ryan Stegman doing some awesome stuff. He's been really coming into his own lately. And yeah, there's 6 pages with a dinosaur and flying hovercrafts and all sorts of stuff, so you're getting your money's worth with 3 pages in. Definitely. Dinosaurs and hovercrafts. You can't go wrong with that in Spider-Man.
Marvel also has out this week the second issue of Infinity.
Yes.
One of their two big sort of post-summer crossovers.
Right.
You know, we had Age of Ultron to lead into the summer,
Yeah,
Infinity to take you out of it.
Summer, yep.
But this is just hugeness. Big space battle hugeness. Jerome OPENA and, who's that other guy? Dustin Weaver.
Giant heavy hitters. And Jerome OPENA is drawing the coolest X-Men spacesuits since Joe Mad and Jim Lee in the 1990s.
It's not even the X-Men wearing them.
That's true.
It's like Captain America and Spider-Woman went and stole the X-Men's 90s spacesuits. They're like, you're not using them.
Right? We're just gonna use them. Absolutely. What else we got this week? There's a lot of evil. Oh yeah. Another, well, I guess a third crossover from Marvel, you know, because this does technically cross over. But the X-Men, speaking of, are so convoluted they have to have their own tie-in, or their own separate thing. We have Battle of the Atom, a X-Men story 50 years in the making, so says Brian Bendis. I think maybe his numbering is kind of like that of Marvel, where they go 1, 2, 35, 50, you know, but regardless, you have Frank Cho doing the first issue, which looks really badass. A lot of all-new X-Men stuff.
Some dinosaurs.
Some dinosaurs.
Frank Cho
Again,
without dinosaurs.
leads directly into part 2 of all-new X-Men, drawn by the supremely talented Stuart Immonen. He's so badass.
He, yeah.
I mean, even Stuart Immonen, really, it's worth it. But yes, you want to know what's going on. Big X-Men crossover. It's going to be tying into all the X-Men books. So if you read an X-Men book and you're not getting this, you're going to be confused.
Or, you know, just take a breather from X-Men books. But you're not going to do that, because you read X-Men books.
That's right. X-Men books are not a thing that you walk away from. What the hell's wrong with you?
But speaking of walking away and an X book, strangely enough, this is the end of X Factor. The end of X Factor. Issue number 262. This is Peter David's farewell to the series that he has written on and off for like 10 years, 15 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, and no, this is not because he had a stroke. I don't know if you people heard of it. Peter David had a stroke. It's merely because, well, they thought it'd be a good ending point. And I guess after 262 issues, you know, what else you do? You already made Shatterstar and Richter gay. I mean, you can't really make anything else kind of crazy.
And made Shatterstar Longshot's grandpa, but also his son.
Now, see, this is why I can't read the X-Men. Alright, and probably the biggest thing, if you buy DC Comics this week, you're just going to be broke. I'm really sorry to tell you, but you are. We have Forever Evil, which if you were reading the Trinity War, you know what's up. You know that the Crime Syndicate is back.
Yes.
Pulling from Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's JLA Earth 2 hardcover that came out many years ago that is friggin' awesome. But this is kind of slightly based on that. But the JLA is dead, and so reigns the villains. And now, as some of you might have heard, there are these really shiny, kind of lenticular covers.
They move around.
They're totally crazy. You probably can't tell through
If you stare at them too long, you'll feel like Green Arrow here rolling around on the ground.
And get count vertigo, exactly. But yeah, so each issue did come out with a 3D lenticular cover. Yes, all stores got allocated. But yes, we got copies of every book that came out this week. It is a limit of 1 per person, so please no buying for the internet or anything like that. Get it just because you like it. We do have standard covers as well. Same story inside, but, you know, it doesn't have the weird trippiness.
Yeah, if you want to read about your favorite villain without your eyes falling out, you know.
Absolutely. You also save $1. It's only $2.99 instead of $3.99. But yeah, it's just a lot of evil this week. A lot of evil. But yeah, I think there was a couple of Batman books. You got Joker, this Action Comics Cyborg Superman.
Yeah, a really cool
badass
design right here too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool covers, and of course Forever Evil #1, definitely. But yeah, there's a lot of DC. DC's making a big play, trying to come back, you know, rekindle that early New 52 energy that they had.
Trying to recapture the hype.
The hype, that's right, bringing back the hype. But, you know, I don't know, Marvel's putting some serious hype machine down, so.
And remember, cast your vote with your dollar. Who will win?
That's right, that's right. You either got Infinity or Forever Evil. What do you like better? Bad guys killing things or 90s space?
Well, we also have Star Wars, but...
Or you have Star Wars, too. But, you know, whatever.
You can opt for a third party.
That's a third party, yeah. Cool, alright, well, thank you all this week for joining us. I hope you have a very droll and nihilistic day. It's very even. Remember, this is bad, straight. Just steady.